Quick question, Robert. Is it season over?
No.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. It's time for another review of another Oxford United game. It is Ian and the pessimistic one himself with you again, as Thomas cannot be here. It was Oxford's long journey up north. It was Oxford away at Sunderland. So, looking at the fixtures we had left, Robert, going into this one, I thought this was Oxford's kind of final free hit, if you like, of the season. I thought it was a game where we weren't really expected to get anything out of it.
Yeah, I don't quite like the term free hit because I sort of feel like we should be. It's a winnable game. We are still Sunderland. They're not like the greatest side in the league. They're a very good side, but they're not untouchable.
No, absolutely not. I just meant sort of I just think going away to one of the best sides
Yeah,
in the league, it was a little bit like how it felt like Hull. It was like we'll go there. I'm sure we'll put a good account of ourselves, but you can't really expect to win it.
yeah, fair
Whereas
enough.
all the other games we have left, I think we do. And right, Oxford had a week off since they for the first time in ages since they played Lincoln, and there was some good things. There was some bad things about team selection. Goran continues to be injured, so it remained Brannigan, Sykes, and Henry in that midfield three. Um, Hansen had to come in at left back because Ruffles wasn't quite fit. Meant Ford had to go to right back because Long was fit, but then had an ear infection. And on top of that, you had Elliot Moore, who'd barely trained all week because of a COVID situation in his family, meaning he wasn't able to be with the camp until he passed clear. But he did manage to get up there. So still a strong Oxford side, but there was weakness in the fullback areas, you would say. And this Sunderland side is in really good form. They got Wyke up front, who scored 22 goals. Gooch always seems to score against us. Jones back in the starting lineup as well. They're good at the back too, so it is going to be a difficult one. But as you said, we should go into every game optimistic, even though you are the pessimistic one. So let's see how Oxford did in this one. It all ended in tears in the end, didn't it, Robs?
It sort of fell apart, didn't it? And I was just before we started filming, I was looking on Twitter, and it does seem to be the Trevor Kettle show at the moment. Everyone's berating him, but I we'll get on to that later.
I
But
don't
I
normally
think
like to talk about referees on Very Biased Opinions, but we will save a special section
yeah,
for Trevor Kettle. Maybe we'll call it the Trevor Kettle bonus round or something like that.
maybe at the end, put the
Um, but this game finished. It is Oxford United were defeated. It finished Sunderland 3, Oxford United 1. But Oxford, like they've done the last few times at the Stadium of Light, they took the lead in this game. It was the first bit of quality from either side in the match. But it was a really good goal, wasn't it?
That was an excellent goal. I mean, up until then, it had been very poor, really, as a
Yep.
match. It's sort of been
Yeah.
nothing had been created. We were sort of holding our own, nothing, and suddenly, out of nowhere, James
Yep.
Henry, the quality that we've been lacking for 2 or 3 weeks, is suddenly back there in spades. An excellent finish, 1-0 up, fantastic goal.
Yeah, absolutely right. All came about through Brandon Barker. Well, Brannigan winning the ball back, but Brandon Barker just absolutely carving through Sunderland, through the middle of the pitch, got Ritchie to the edge of the box, and then played Henry in to smash it in for 1-0. And all happiness in the Oxford camp at that stage, wasn't it? It was all looking good. Oxford were playing well, but the more that first half went on, the more Oxford went into, oh shit, we need to. The more Sunderland got better, and the more Oxford went into, oh shit, we just need to hold on to this. Getting into half time.
It wasn't back to the wall. It wasn't like we were sort of standing back, sort of like defending on a. Sunderland was starting to get in and their quality was starting to show. We were being slowly pushed further and further back, but we were certainly not being outclassed. We were still looking dangerous when going forward. We were still creating pressure. It was just that they started to assert, and just as it got to near half time, we were obviously deciding that we wanted to go in 1-0 up at half time and started defending much deeper, which ultimately cost us.
Yeah, it did. And it was from a Sunderland point of view, it's a really good goal. Jones is a classy winger, and he's absolutely got the better of Hansen. He's literally just beat him quite easily, really, and he's got in, and it's a cross. It's a cross along the 6-yard box, and there's bloody Lyndon Gooch, who always scores against Oxford United, to tuck in from about 3 or 4 yards. And I don't think you could, although it was annoying, it was right on the stroke of
Yeah.
half time, I don't think you really could have complained that Sunderland
No,
deserved the equaliser at that point. And
they did.
going in all square felt fair, although it was a bit annoying because of how late the equaliser came. But still optimistic that Oxford could get something out of this game. Second half was quite even Steven, I felt it was quite good. I thought both sides were looking okay, but it hinged on a really frenetic passage of play, and
That was
where it was very end to end, which was like Oxford went forward and then Sunderland went forward and Hansen made a really good challenge, which Sunderland are convinced it was a foul, but I'm going to say it was a good challenge.
no way was that a foul.
I, I,
It was an outstanding chucking by Hansen.
they have yellow. They have red glasses. We have yellow glasses. But um, then it went through the other end to Oxford attacking, and it got played in, and the defender took a touch, and it bobbled away from him. And Mark Sykes, already on a yellow card, dived in rather recklessly and took a second yellow card. And that was a key decision, really, in the game, wasn't it? It was Oxford had a mountain to climb, really, when they were 1-1 with 10 men, with still about half an hour in the game to go.
It was a brainless decision by Mark Sykes. I know Sykes has been forcing his way into the side, and you and Tom have been talking all season about how Robinson seemed to have a problem with him, replaying him more and more. That won't help.
No.
He was already on the yellow for a slightly, poor yellow card he got earlier. It was a needless one, and then he dives in. And so, like you say, whether you say like it was harsh or he didn't need to make, he gave the referee a decision to make. And if it had been the other way around, we probably would have been saying it was a sending off too. So
I can't disagree with any of
him.
that. I mean, now I've had time to think about it, and instantly, as obviously I was like, there's a ball there to be won, but to dive in like that when you're on a yellow card is pretty brainless. It didn't need to do that. Especially it was a ball where he wasn't likely to win it as well.
And it wasn't like it was on the goal line where you're frantically
Yeah.
diving in on the keeper or something like that. Most would have happened is the ball would have rung loose on the 6-yard box. It was brainless by Sykes. That's the best way.
Well,
That's
it's a
a
rush
nice
of blood, and
yeah.
it's heat at the moment. It's not condemning to like
No,
let's not do a Karl Robinson here. I mean, it's heat at the moment. You see the ball, you want to try and win it. He's a player that plays with a lot of enthusiasm and maybe a little bit too much on this occasion, and unfortunately it went against Oxford. But after that, you felt very much like it was Sunderland, just whether they were going to get that second goal or not. And Oxford held out long enough. Sunderland got better. They had God knows how many free kicks they had in and around the box. They hit the bar with a real stinging effort. They had a shot that went just across the face of goal as well. But eventually, the second goal did come from McGeady. But again, and I'll let you talk about it a little bit. From an Oxford point of view, there were some question marks about whether the free kick, one, whether it was a free kick, and two, whether it should have been allowed to be taken quickly.
yeah, this is going from Radio Oxford as well, because I was having to listen to Radio Oxford as well to try and find out what was going on. But
because you can't listen, because I wasn't giving you enough commentary. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
I'm basically saying that Stevie Kiddenborough and the team are a little bit better.
I'm hurt.
But no, in fairness, they're just focusing on the game. You're focusing on live stream as well, and to cut you a break. But
so just get on with it. Your damage is done.
yeah, but Brannigan is down. It's a free. It's debatable whether it's a free kick or not. But he's on the ground, and Kettle, the referee, gives a cheap free kick, whilst one of our players is still on the ground. So, and then Sunderland go forward, and then they score from it. And that's when it kicks off. Because on Radio Oxford, they were adamant saying it's poor referee. He should wait for Brannigan to get on his feet and then go again. And that's what Karl Robinson was sent off for. I mean, you don't know what Robinson was saying, but obviously
I can imagine.
Furious about what happened to him, and that's why he got sent off himself. So 2 red cards for Oxford during the game.
Yeah, obviously, Karl Robinson sent to the stands as well, and had to have like an armed guard around him because he refused to.
About 4 seats away from the dugout, which, as you know, is
I think they actually fought in the army at one point.
I mean, I don't know. I think there were like riot shields of people coming out over there as well. We're going to find pictures of him sort of like being pinned to the ground.
But I was just going to say, like, it's Sunderland were allowed to take it quick, and from their point of view, they did a really good job. Oxford cleared the danger, but it came to McGeady on the edge of the box, and he killed in a low finish. And Stevens couldn't do nothing with it. So you can't blame them. They took
It's
advantage of a situation. It's just whether that situation should have occurred. If you look in the other way round, I
yeah.
don't think we'd have quibbled at all.
It's not a shocker. It's not like it's not a decision which you can turn around and say is a completely an injustice. I would say it's wrong that you take the free kick whilst Brannigan's on the ground, but I would still say but it's not the worst decision you've ever
No,
seen.
I
It's
didn't
just
even really
it's
think
given
it
them the
was.
advantage.
I don't even think it's that bad of a decision. I would say it's more debatable about whether it was a free kick or not, about whether Sunderland should be allowed to take it
Yeah,
quickly.
that was
But it's given, and Oxford have got one player down. They still should be able to defend it. It's come out to McGeady, and he's made a good finish. And at that point, you didn't think Oxford were going to get back into it. But to be fair to Oxford, I think that we actually played better when we went 2-1 down, and like we started actually trying to play football again rather than just trying to bang it long.
well, the danger was is that beforehand we were just sort of being too defensive. We were sitting back and we're trying to hit on the break. And then so as soon as obviously Sunderland scored, Sunderland went back into what we hold mode, and then we could attack going forward. And that's when we actually looked at our most dangerous. We had certainly had a couple of decent chances over in there in the box. Agi looked good going forward. We put some decent crosses into the ball. But sadly, pressing forward that we did, we left ourselves vulnerable at the back,
Yeah, we
or
did. There
rather,
was
Grace
the one,
left
the
us
one,
vulnerable
the
at the back.
one real close chance Oxford had was there was a really good ball in. Um, I think it was by Agi actually, and their defender just got there ahead of Winnall, who would have had a tap in if he'd have got to it first. But it was really good defending by Sunderland,
Yeah.
and pretty much from that corner, poor old Grayson, he can't do anything right in an Oxford shirt, can he? He gave the ball straight to Sunderland, or Sunderland intercepted him, and they broke forward, and it was a classic 2-on-1 counter attack, and it got played into Homer Simpson's alias, and he just tucked it away quite nicely. Old Max Power.
Yeah, the man who's named after the setting on the hairdryer. It was a good finish by him.
Um, look, that's it. It ended up 3-1. It felt like a game that was going to be a tall order to see Oxford win it. We've come out on the wrong side of it. It's not. I'll ask you a question in a second, but I will just say one thing first. Do you not think we should start Agi in games now?
Yeah, I do.
Like, he comes on and he holds the ball up more in 15, 20 minutes than Taylor could do in the whole game.
I like Matty Taylor, and I think Matty Taylor's. I think part of the problem for Matty Taylor is we're not creating the chances for him
Yeah,
this season.
agreed.
That's the thing. If you were creating chances for Matty Taylor would be scoring goals, but we're not. So we need a different type of forward going up front. And a point I was going to make was in the second half. At one point, you were saying which substitutions have we made around about the 75th minute, and we hadn't made any. And
Yeah.
it baffles me why we hadn't brought Agi on at that point,
He should
or
have come on with half an hour to go.
yeah, because at that point, our best tactic, we were defending and we were wanting someone to sort of hit them on the break.
Yeah.
And the best person to do that is Agi. He's quick, he's strong.
Yeah.
He's not as streetwise as Matty Taylor, of course not. And this isn't to knock Matty Taylor. I don't think Taylor had a bad game.
No,
But I think Agi is certainly someone who can be dominant. In these games, he could be the person who can actually try and score, who can actually put defenders under pressure.
well, he
If we're
did,
not
didn't he? He did.
yeah,
He did
he
that when
did,
he
yeah.
got the ball. He did get the ball. And he's a bloody handful, and he ran at Sunderland, and he started to cause them problems. And yeah, I agree. Those substitutions did come on too late. And all in all, I mean, like I can't quibble with the result because Sunderland, the pressure they put on us of being down to 10 men told, and
Yeah.
well done to them, good win and all that, and they're marching towards what seems like automatic promotion, which is long overdue for them. But back to Oxford. We talked about this one. I know you don't like the term, but being the last free hit,
Yeah.
we don't have those luxuries anymore now. We've got 8 games now, and I'm going to say I think we need to win 6 of them if we've got any
Yeah.
chance of being in the playoffs this season.
I mean, the fact is now we've not left ourselves any wiggle room. We sort of the fact is even if we got a draw today, that would have been something. But the fact is now, like you say, we probably need to win 7 or 8 games because it's not just us. There are a handful of teams who are
I
all
think I
competing for
think
the
it's
play.
6. If it gets 6, that gets us to 74, and 74 is usually like that little area that gets you that last playoff place. It might come down to goal difference, and I think that's really like if you say 7 out of 8, it's like, oh, geez, that's borderline impossible. So you got to say there's going to
It's
be
an
2 stinker
exceptional run
performances in
to
there,
do it. Yeah,
like we had. It needs to be a run like we had earlier on in the season.
I think. looking at the side though, I thought the main two players today were for Moore and Atkinson. I thought they were great today for
Good,
the club.
good.
And they played really, really well. And bear in mind, Elliot Moore hadn't trained with the side. He'd had sort of like, I think his daughter had been ill, and then he had to go for the whole COVID testing malarkey. But he played really well. Stevens looks great in goal. I think Hansen, he's not a fullback, but he's done as well as he could do in
Yeah.
that post.
I,
But
I,
hopefully,
I haven't really got any quibbles with any of Oxford players out there today.
no.
Obviously, I'm not going to talk about Grayson or subs or anything. I haven't really got any of the quibbles of any of the Oxford players. Taylor was extremely isolated. There was a couple of times where Barker and Shadipo did make good runs, and he wasn't making the run to get in the box, which kind of annoyed me. But I thought Hansen and Ford did as well as you could expect, and I agree with you that I think Atkinson and Moore are the positional sense between the two of them's really good now. And there were times where Sunderland bombarded us with balls in the box, and they headed the majority of them away and didn't really give away too many chances. I just think again it just comes back to saying beaten by a better side, really.
For Monday, for Accrington, I would say we go with pretty much the same side, but you hopefully can bring back in for Long, and you can bring back in Ruffles, and then up front you bring in Dan Adjington, and
Yeah, I think so.
and then that's it. That'll be a good starting side. And again, this is not a knocking Taylor, because I feel like, so he's not had a great season for Oxford United, but he's not had the chances created for him. It's not like he's missed a
Well,
hatful of chances.
there will be changes, won't there? Because I imagine that I hope that Goran might be fit and Goran can come in, hold and roll. Brannigan's got to come in and play for Sykes now. Otherwise, we're going to be left with Liam Kelly playing in that hole.
Why not Hanson in the midfield?
You could do
And like I
Hansen,
said,
couldn't you?
because
Could do Ford.
he could, but Hanson, I would say, in his defence, he has played very well the last few games, and he's
Yep.
looking a promising player. And I do think like that's his position. I know we keep sticking him at right back and all the rest of it, but this is his place. So I kind of feel like saying if Goran can come in and sort of do the defensive role again, and we need someone to step in for Mark Sykes, why not give Hanson his due? Give him a chance.
You might be absolutely spot on with that one. Any change of the wingers? Maybe give maybe Elliot Lee. Could he come in?
Maybe Elliot Lee, or maybe even Ford. I mean, like I say, I think Ford going forward, he's got the better set piece delivery, but you'd certainly want one of them. You would hope to either have Shadipo or Barker
Oh
play.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think Barker was getting a lot of stick. He seemed to be sort of people sort of saying he's lazy, he doesn't do anything, and I think that's true to a degree. I think when things aren't going well, he's not someone who's going to sort of he's going to look amazing, but he's done all right for us, Barker, and I think we definitely could.
I was happy with Shadipo and Barker. I thought when they did get the ball, they did at least try and run at
Shadipo
Sunderland.
played well.
Yeah,
I thought,
and they both tried to get when they did get the ball, they weren't like
yeah.
pissing around with it. They just ran at Sunderland, tried to get crosses into the box, which is what you want from your wingers, really. But look, over egging the pudding a little bit on this one. It's a disappointing performance. It's crunch time now. It's business time for Oxford United. We've got to get back to winning ways against Accrington on Monday. We'll be doing a live stream for that one. It might just be me on the live stream again, but hopefully Thomas will be on it again. And we'll be doing a review for Accrington Oxford Accrington on Monday as well. So once again, thank you, Robert, for your sage and wise words when it comes to Oxford United. That is the voice of experience and the voice of a lot of miserable days watching Oxford United. So you should listen to every word that he says. And just the little things like thank you very much for everyone for liking the video. Thank you for those that were on the live stream today. If you can like this video, that'll be great. If you can hit subscribe, that'll be great. If you haven't, and if you can hit notify bell, that helps as well. But without wasting any more time, thanks very much. Enjoy your Easter weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.